Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Wow. Feels like only yesterday I reviewed Raven Software's Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast on the original Xbox. Nope. Feldor, cut the feed. Cut the feed! What? Ow! That was not Jedi Outcast on the original Xbox. That was a Star Wars fan film I had made in high school. Now please choose the correct file, Feldor. I can't feel my brain. A lot of the game was great, from the authentic Star Wars look to the surprisingly fun combat, but the game was brought down hard by some abysmal level design and a terrible case of where the hell do I go next. On top of that, the story was crap, the main character Kyle Katarn was an idiot, the music would start and stop seemingly at random, and the labyrinth levels went on for way too long. You'd spend half the game trying to figure out where they want you to go rather than actually progressing. Half the time, a button you needed to press or a door you needed to open blended in so well with the million other non-interactable objects in the game you'd pass it 100 times before accidentally noticing it. It was infuriating. As much as I disliked the game for its major faults, I knew a great game was buried in there somewhere waiting to come out, and thankfully so did Raven Software, and they gave it another swing a year and a half later with its final sequel, Jedi Academy. Let's just get the basics right out of the way. This is essentially a large expansion pack to the first game, and it brings all the great aspects that first game had along with it. This once again looks the part, and if you have an Xbox One or especially an Xbox One X where I captured this footage, it looks stunning. It's just still a great looking game with a ton of personality. All those classic Star Wars sound effects too are still here, and their great Luke Skywalker sound-alike continues to be surprisingly competent. Everything great about the first game is still great. It just feels good to play, maybe even a little better. But what did they fix? Because Jeebus knows it needed fixing. Well, they didn't entirely fix the music. It still has a mind of its own and it starts and stops at complete random, though they did do some tweaking so it's less jarring and it definitely flows better than it did before. They also made Kyle not so much of an idiot anymore.
Great. Looks like somebody's home. Luke sure knows how to pick 'em. We'll set down in that canyon and try to sneak into the castle.
He spent the majority of the last game trying to be an angrier Han Solo, and it just came off as lame and forced. This time around, though, Kyle has settled into his role as a teacher at the Academy and is just overall written with more levity. They split the difference between his loose cannon personality of the last game and the more level-headed nature of Luke, and wouldn't you know it, he's actually kinda tolerable now. The overall story is less complex than the last go-around. It all just flows better. It has a more consistent pacing and better writing. Plus, they seem to have stopped trying to take it too seriously, which goes a long way. Overall, a big improvement, but it isn't going down as a classic Star Wars tale or anything. And now, most importantly, the biggest flaw of Jedi Outcast. The thorn in its ass, the heel of its Achilles, the bomb in its cupboard, the Empire in its backyard, the war in its stars has been fixed. Ladies and gents, this is how you make a sequel. This is how you make a Star Wars game. Gone are the overly long labyrinth levels of the past, and in its place an expertly crafted, smaller, more varied set of missions that, while still occasionally broken, are goddamn light years better than they were in Jedi Outcast. Raven took the criticisms of the last game and crafted what I think to be one of the best Star Wars games ever made. One early mission had me crash landing on a planet loaded with sandworms. These graboids, let's call them, react to the vibration you make in the sand, so I was forced to scavenge for parts to fix my ship while platforming across the environment trying not to touch the ground. I didn't fire a single bullet or use my lightsaber once in the entire mission, and it was still an absolute blast. One mission had me running around a floating mining facility, planting beacons so Rogue One can come in and blow it all to hell. Or the one where I had to figure out how to kill a mutated rampaging Rancor. There's even a tram sequence reminiscent of the best part of Solo. In fact, a lot of the missions are like this. Variety is the name of the game here. Plenty of missions are still just moving from point A to point B, killing everything in your path, but they almost always throw a wrench in the works to spice things up. And My god, I never once struggled to figure out where to go next. Buttons that needed to be pushed to progress no longer blended in with the environment. You're almost always pointed in the right direction, but still given enough room to explore. It's a completely new experience without changing what was great about its predecessor. I actually looked forward to playing the next mission and was almost never disappointed. There is one speeder bike mission that may very well be the worst vehicle section I've ever played in a game, and some of the later levels start feeling like increasingly difficult gauntlets for padding's sake. They force you down a linear path and throw dozens of lightsaber-wielding baddies at you for what feels like hours of game time. But considering where we came from, this is a huge improvement. This is just a fantastic sequel. They kept what worked and fixed what needed fixing, and out came a monumentally better game. If you're only going to play one, make it Jedi Academy. It's not just one of Raven's best games, it is one of the best Star Wars games I've ever played. Raven has always been like this. This is why they're one of my favorite studios. When they hit it out of the goddamn atmosphere. Now, if only Activision would stop forcing Raven to be a Call of Duty support studio and start letting them make games, we might get great experiences like this again. The studio is capable of so much more. Let them make games. I just hit myself in the head with my fist doing that. You won't even see it because I wasn't recording video. Ha! Now cut it, you f***. I mean, just look at this. What is even happening here? The speeder bike mission makes the speeder bike mission in Shadows of the Empire look like the speeder bike scene in Return of the Jedi.